with me. Talk with me. Free your mind with Big G. Hey everybody. Welcome to the Chicago Walk Show. I'm your host, Big G. And today's walk show topic is how naive of me to believe ... Let's get right into it. How naive for me to believe ... Let's get right to it. How naive of me to believe that child support, this is a list of 10 things. 10 things that I'm still perhaps naive of. Number one, and this is in no particular order of importance. Ascending, descending is just random. How naive of me to believe that child support is helping our community. Now, I never believed that. I never believed child support was helping our community because it was introduced to me in the most vicious way. This is how child support was introduced to me. I opened my check one day and boom, meet child support. Yep, garnishment, straight taking my money, and I'm taking care of the shorty. Like shorty was born into my crib. To this day, I've done all I can. What's the grade? Who got the scale to determine support? Like, okay, let's break it down. Some agency that didn't have nothing to do with making this baby is determining the guidelines, the points of importance, if you will, which is your money. Oh, it's very important. It's very important that we commandeer, we garnish, we take this young man money, and we deem it's important because we need him to take care of his child. Right? Wrong. Because the mother and the child combined get less than 40% of the check. Look it up. All this information I'm providing to you is researchable. I would actually prefer that you don't even, what's up, man? I would actually prefer that you don't even trust your boy. Don't trust me. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. Another reason why I'm doing these videos, because I was that young man that could have used this random information. And why I say random, because nobody giving it to us. Ain't nobody there's no one deliberately teaching black men what's to come. That's a lack of culture, and it's our fault ultimately, but it's not our fault to begin with. But back to the list. Number one, we still on number one. Child support. How naive of me to believe that child support would help. It's one of the most divisive tools in the black community. It instantaneously pits the parent, the father. It instantaneously pits the father against the mother because the father is looking at the mother like, you help orchestrate this. And the mother is saying, you damn right, because the system told me that I could get paid off of you. Let's go back a little further in our history. We've been deprived on a lot of levels. Whatever you want to call it, you call it that. But we've been taken advantage of. We've been enslaved. We've been beaten, raped, sodomized. You name anything bad, and this happened to us on a regular basis. That prevented us still to this day, that prevents us a certain quality of life. We don't have the opportunity to go out and work and make money like the society presents the opportunities exist. They don't exist. They want everybody to believe it's this pool, this treasure trove of jobs just laying around, and men, especially I'm talking about black men because I'm a black man and I can give you the best perspective of a black man. Black men aren't willing to work, and that's farthest from the truth. We love our children. I never met a black man that didn't want to take care of his child, no matter what his financial status. And I've met a lot of black men because I'm a barber. I went to a all-male private school. And I'm a very outgoing person, so I know a lot of people, and I got a lot of perspective. So let's stick to the topic. How naive I am, how naive of me to believe that child support really works, like on any level. And I was breaking it down that if you don't have the opportunity to get a job, or you barely got a job, and then as soon as you get that job, somebody taking 40% of your check, that's a little less than half of your money, and they not even giving it to your children. They're giving a percentage of it to your children. And that's what we need to understand, that first of all, it's fraud, because they achieve access to your check by garnishment. I mean, let's just keep it 1,000. They garnishing your check, and it ain't helping. It's destroying. It has destroyed, and it's continuing to destroy as I speak, our community, because mothers are under the impression that this is the help that they need. This is the help that they've been looking for. The government gonna help me get paid off my children's father, and that's farthest from the truth. The government is gonna help destroy the one last thread of fabric that's holding y'all together. Whatever got the baby here, y'all should, and I don't mean the sex, I mean whatever conversation y'all had to have to get to sex, y'all should visit their conversations again. Child support is not helping our community. Number 2 in my list of how naive of me to believe that the educational system is just that, an educational system. Now, education is the key. Education is the way to success. To educate yourself about something is to achieve success, understanding, knowledge over that thing. That's success. So education is great. Education is great. But when the education is manipulated, like our educational system was purchased, actually. It was bought out, if you will. It's not organic. It's not of cultural substance. What do I mean by cultural substance? Just my imagination allows me to understand that education should resemble, it should reflect one's culture. Education should reflect one's culture. Education should look like The people that's teaching, that's giving the education, should look like the people that's getting the education. Let me cut to the chase. The opportunities that they say exist in my previous conversation over education, the education that we seek is not authentic. The education that we seek is hijacked. So yes, education is the key to success, and the pure, authentic education looks like the people that look like you are teaching you the best practices for you. That's culture, and education is how you teach a culture. Education is how you transfer culture from one person to the next. I got a whole video on the importance of culture. Look it up, check it out. But yeah, so your culture denotes what to teach. And then when you figure out what to teach, you teach it to the people that look like you. You know, when I do this, this is what happens based on my experience. And that is good for me. Or when I do this, this is what happens based on my experience, and that is bad for me. So we should do these things and we shouldn't do these things. And it's different with each group of people because we all different. So your ethnicity should denote your education and what you're culturally taking in. But that's been hijacked from us, so we don't have an authentic culture. We got a pagan culture. We got a pagan culture. And that's detrimental to us. You know, we celebrating, you know, things that don't match. You know, for example, Thanksgiving is a time of giving thanks, right? No, it was a time of slaughter. People were slaughtered during this time back in the day, and this vicious country turned it into a celebration to mask its atrocity, to mask its culpability, and for us to continue to hurt ourselves in the sense of celebrating something that's demonic, that's bad. Yeah, it hurts you when you celebrate stuff that shouldn't be celebrated. That's not good. You worshiping, you know, if you're not worshiping your creator, you're worshiping your destroyer. And which one would you prefer to worship? I'm trying to take all labels, titles, categories. I'm trying to take all that out of the game, all of that out of the conversation, and be 100% raw. You know, I ain't talking about nobody religion. I ain't talking about nobody nothing. I'm talking about my experience. That's what this is. This is all my experience. And we on number 2 in the category of how naive of me to believe that education is authentic. Do you know in other societies, they pay for your education? You don't have to jump through all these hoops to get educated. Only in this country, only in this corporation are you required to jump through all these hoops and apply for all these loans and grants and owe the government. Sidebar, Muammar Gaddafi from Libya. He paid for everybody's education there. He gave married couples $50,000, I do believe, a home, whatever you wanted to be in life, you could. Muammar Gaddafi paid for it. They paid for everybody electricity. They paid for everybody. I think he fed people. All people had to do in Libya was live. Live your best life. Imagine that. And what did they do? He was murdered. Look it up. It's gonna amaze you who murdered this man. Killed this great leader. That's just one sidebar. Back to my list. Education. I'm naive to believe that education works, because it don't. All it does is indoctrinate us. Make you forget who you are and believe who you not. We not even taught the importance of knowledge of self. That's not at all talked about in no educational setting, no school system, none. It's not about who you are at all. It's all about who somebody else is, which is that's not true who they are, and you should be like them, which is anti-culture. Culture never teaches you how to be like somebody else. It teaches you how to be yourself. Number 3 in this list of 10 things why I'm so naive. I'm naive of the medicine. How naive of me to believe that medicine is helping us. How naive of me to believe that the medicine that we taking is helping us. No, it's not. The medicine that we taking is killing us. Literally killing us. Because it's a chemical byproduct, a chemical substitution, if you will, of what's natural. That part about culture I talked about earlier, and I'll be talking about throughout this list, because one's culture is very important. Your culture teaches you what's good to take and what's not good to take. And there's herbs, not chemicals. Things that grow from the ground through true education, through true information, through real research, not fabricated research to push an agenda to make somebody believe a lie. Your culture safeguards that, because your culture is about you. So within your culture, you understand the medicine, that the herbs, the treatment that it requires for you to be whole, healed, the best you could be. Medicine. But the medicine that we take, the medicine that we think is helping us, on one hand is helping us. You know, they say you're taking blood pressure pills to lower your blood pressure. So yeah, on one hand it's lowering your blood pressure, but on another hand it's doing something bad, like I believe it's ruining your liver, or whatever the case may be. But herbs, cultural education, those type of things address that. You know, historically, if men took something that didn't help them, it hurt them, it made them break out in hives or whatever. That's a cultural education. Like you teach your sons, hey man, don't rub this on you, because when I rubbed it on me, that, you know, it gave me a rash. So you don't need that. And then the young ones trust what we saying, because the culture is intact and they came out into a solid culture. Nobody have to persuade them to listen. Nobody have to, all these reasons why you want to teach somebody something, why you trying to teach somebody something, you don't have to waste time doing that. And that's why our community is the way it is, because through a series of lies and misinformation, we have alienated our children from the parents, particularly the father. So on top of child support, lack of education, and then we got medicine that we think is helping, but it's not. It's hurting us. And we don't even understand the magnitude, because we believe, they got us to believe that the medicine is what's best for us. And it's not. It's actually keeping you coming back too. America is the only corporation that pays their doctors for you being sick. Everywhere else in the world, every other country in the world, they pay their doctors according to how well they are. And if you're sick, then your physician does not get paid until you get well. How much sense do that make? That make all the sense in the world. But nah, we are embedded in this backwards system over here that's the only one in the established world. We the only country that pay doctors for sick people. It should be the other way around. If you are what is it? If you a trainer and you training people, but they fat, they gonna stop paying you. They're not gonna seek you out as a trainer, because the goal is to not be fat. The goal is to be in shape. So why would a trainer pay somebody to train them and they not get the results, the desired results, and keep paying them? I'm comparing that to a physician. You go to a physician to be healthy, right? Then the physician come and tell you, oh, you got this and you got that. That'll be $2,000. Like, no. The physician gonna come back saying, you got this and you got that. Let me get on this. Let me jump on this so I can relieve you of these things that you're sick from, and I can go back to getting paid. How do that sound? And then there's incentive to keep you well. No, it's the total opposite in this corporation. Because we don't understand, because we've been misled, misinformed, we believe that, oh, you just go to your physician, they pump you with all this medicine, chemicals, and these bad practices, if you will, and then hit you with this big bill that you owe for them telling you, first of all, they're making you more sick by giving you these chemicals, and they're not telling you what's really good for you to make yourself whole again. So if you ask me, they have no incentive for health care. So they can't be in the healthcare industry because they don't have our health care at heart. Let's stick to the list. Employment. How naive of me to believe that employment is available in our community. Let me dispel the myth that black men don't want to work. Now, am I talking about all black men? No. All of my conversations, all of my dialogue is on a spectrum scale, meaning I talk about things and I look at the spectrum of it. I don't just look at my experience, because my experience don't represent the whole spectrum. My experience represents a point, a piece, a part of that spectrum, if you will. So, speaking from a spectrum standpoint, do all black men want to work? No. Most black men do though. Most black men do though. But unfortunately, some black men have been affected by propaganda, and they believe that all that's out here is crime or there's no opportunity. They believe that their opportunity is criminal activity because that's what they was taught. They was raised in a house of criminals. So your perspective, I got a video on perspective because perspective is life. One's perspective, that's your life. And I don't think we understand the magnitude of that. But if you've been brought up and hustling, illegal activity is what you see people doing to feed themselves, that's a normal perspective of you. That's normal. That's not a crime. That's you hustling. It's all these, you a hustler. You a lord. You this and you that. You all these things that's not true in its nature. Yes, you're hustling, but no, you're not a hustler. You're hustling because you got to hustle to sell, do criminal activity. You got to hustle. You got to run. You got to hurry up and get over here. Hurry up. So you got to hustle. So yes, you hustling in that sense, but in the sense of a hustler, the respect that a hustler got, that no, I'm gonna do what I got to do. I'm gonna sell dinners. I'm gonna sell T-shirts. I'm gonna sell books. I'm gonna sell whatever I need to sell legally to get where I'm trying to go to the next level. That's a hustler. That's what hustlers do. They mistakenly mixed hustling with drug dealing and tried to make it all look, like the same, but it's not, So we talking about employment. There's no opportunity for employment out here. And then when you do get a job ain't nothing but work. You got to do something that's fulfilling, that gives back to your community. That's what this corporation don't want. This corporation want to take that concept away from you. Don't worry about, we are your community. Let us tell you what's important. Let us tell you what you should be and shouldn't be focused on. That's not a community. That's a dictatorship. Your community should look like you. So I'm still on employment opportunities. They don't exist. I was on the train one day. True story. The lady got on the train. Wait, first I get on the train and it's a man on the train. It's December. The water that's leaking on the train is frozen on the floor inside the train car. That's how cold it is. That's the conditions of the car too. We traveling in. It's cold outside and it's cold inside. So I get on the train and it's a guy with a jacket on with frozen snot on his nose. And his feet was in water. His naked feet was in water on the train. He was sitting there. It was like he was in a daze. And he was just looking straight ahead. So when I came on the train, I looked at him and I said to myself, this is how America want us. This is the state that America want us in. Beat down, run amok, disheveled, displaced, all of that. And I was truly sympathetic of his mental inability. His mental health was not good. His physical health was worse than his mental health, which contributed to his mental health. So back to the story. I sit down and my heart is, my heart is the way it is. So I'm looking at the guy. So we go through a few stops and then we get to one of the more popular stops, and quite a few people get on. And this lady got on and she said, God damn, he stank. These MFers get on my nerves. They need to just go get a job. And she was an older lady. She had gray hair and, you know. And initially, that's easy to believe. Initially, that's easy to, you know, understand, accept, and say, yeah, why don't this nigga go get a job, right? But if you look deeper, there was a lot of things that was done way before he got to this point that led him down this path. Like, the first thing that's done to us as young black men is our fathers are taken out of our homes, out of our lives. Oh, my daddy? Okay, I'm not talking to you then. If your daddy was there, goody for you. Goody two-shoes for you. I'm talking about the people who daddy wasn't there. I'm talking about the people who daddy was there, but was so affected by the oppression that they might as well have not been there. We still talking about employment, opportunity. So, if you don't have a father in your life, and then if the father's in your life can't focus on you because he got to protect himself, then he can be little to no help to you. That's a form of oppression, because to occupy my dad, to occupy my father with bullshit so he can't focus on his son, that's you a devil. Like, that's nefarious. But that's what's going on. Whether you want to believe it or not, the black man in our community has been devoured, digested, regurgitated, and devoured again by the people. And we constantly being done like that. So my point, let's stick to the list. Employment is not sustainable in our community because the lack of opportunity, the lack of honest information, the lack of guidance, the lack of nutrition, over policing, all these things that's happening to you every day that you normalizing, they lead you down a path. So then when you look up, all of these things, gang banging, drug dealing, all that's cool and it's making you money. But as the older you get, the less cool it is. And the less sustainable it is, because now you in and out of jail. If you haven't gotten killed, you owe people money. People owe you money. That's never good. Whether you owe them or they owe you, that's never good. And then you look up, and now you want a regular, normal life. You want to go to work. You don't want this lifestyle no more. It's too late, because now you have ruined your reputation. Your track record, if you will, is mud. And so this corporation, they drug test you. Imagine that. Imagine dropping drugs in your neighborhood for free. Well, I use the term free loosely because we all pay and they get paid. But they drop drugs and guns in our community, right? Then some of us on the spectrum scale just do it because somebody said it was cool. So you see them doing drugs, so you start doing drugs. Then you have a bright idea to go. You got to pay for these drugs. So let me go get me a job. And they give you a drug test. Oh, sorry, you can't work here because you failed a drug test. Or you need a license to do something, Now, should you need a license to operate heavy machinery? Yes. Yes. Should you need a license to cook for people? And you need a license saying that you clean? Yes. But that's, we could determine what you need a license for. It's a lot of stuff you got to get certified for. You got to do this, you got to do that. And that's just a form of a gatekeeper keeping us out. So this path that I'm describing consists of all type of things. And lack of opportunity is the number one ingredient at the top, over policing. This path that I'm talking about is similar to the list that I'm on. But the path I'm describing is this path of this young man on the train. While his feet is bare, this nigga barefoot with his foot in the water, and he don't have enough wherewithal, he don't have enough brain power to take his feet out the water. That's how messed up he is. But this lady gets on the train, and no, I ain't telling her to sit by the nigga, hold his hand, kiss him, or none of that. But goddamn, don't snap on the man talking about you stink and I wish you just get a job. And the reason I'm pointing that out is because whether we want to admit it or not, this is how we are to each other. Now that's an extreme case that I'm describing. But you best believe every room that I walk in, every step that I take, every door that I open, anything that I do, it don't matter what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, it's looked at negatively. If I put a shirt and tie on and I'm walking down the street, this not a young man with a shirt and tie on that's trying to better himself. What this nigga on? This nigga got a shirt and tie on, he trying to be slick. That's how I'll be looked at. And that's how it is in the black community. So to wrap up number 4, education, the educational opportunities that don't exist in our community definitely hurt us. And I'm naive to believe that the educational system not only don't help us, but it's actually hurting us. That's employment. That was number 4. Number 5 on this list of how naive I am. This is not how naive I am. How naive of me to believe that music and movies is entertainment. How naive of me to believe that the music that we listen to and the movies that we look at is entertaining. It's entertainment. How naive of me to believe that. The music that we listen to and the movies that we look at, they're presented and perceived as entertainment. But what they really are, they're war agents. They're nefarious brainwashing tools, if you will. Let me start with music. The effects that vibrations have to the human body is profound. We don't even understand the magnitude of that. We don't even understand the magnitude of a drum line, a bass line, the piano keys. We don't understand the magnitude of these things affecting us. We think we just dancing or whatever. We think we just grooving, when really we being programmed. We in a hypnotic state, a trance, if you will. It's a conscious trance. Like we woke, but and we listening to music and it's telling us, it's saying all this crazy stuff. And I used to believe that if your brain was strong enough, you could just listen to the part that's good and ignore the part that's bad. Spectrum. Let's talk about spectrum. So yeah, I could do that. I'm able to discern, what's crazy. Bitch this, bitch that, that's crazy. Versus we need to come together. I could discern the difference. When I hear a crazy song that's telling me to call the women in my community bitches and hoes, I know that that's not right. And just the fact that I'm talking about it is proof that we being manipulated because no other culture, no other ethnicity, no other group of people make music that's detrimental, that's demoralizing. Other cultures, other ethnicities, they make music that's inspirational, inspiring. It's encouraging. So why do our music discourage? Because it was hijacked. It was hijacked, and it was taken from us because we don't have no money. So now we don't have no money, we don't have no cultural structure. So now all the staples of a society either don't exist or they're weak as hell, blowing in the wind. And music was that. Hip hop started off authentic. Hip hop started off raw, edgy, gritty, honest, attractive. And the leaders of this corporation saw that and seen an opportunity to do us more harm, do us more damage. So they basically purchased the music industry from the music industry and told them we got it. So now the people that look like us in terms of a cultural representation of what we dealing with, now we got we got some people that don't look like us that's paying for, that's directing, that's guiding. We got some people that don't look like us that's directing our music. So that's not healthy. And then they paying the bad actors. They paying the rappers to get rid of that conscious, inspirational rap and give me the vulgar, disrespected rap. So in essence, we think we jamming, we think we getting it, we think we whatever, but really we being brainwashed and trained to hate each other. Even me. And I'm telling you that I don't believe in, it don't work on me. But I'm honest enough to know that it is working on me, whether I want to believe it or not. If I'm listening to it, if it's going inside my head, my brain digesting it, it's affecting me. Movies too. They show us all these movies about gang banging, drug dealing, hustling, boys in the hood. Friday, that was more comical, but it was still a negative depiction of us. Belly, any Baby Boy, any movie that glorified hood life, thug life, is nefariously presented to us as entertainment, but it's really programming us to hate each other. That's how naive I am to believe that the movies and music that we entertain ourselves with is just that, it's entertainment and no more. And actually, it's much more than entertainment. Here's one of my more interesting entries. How naive of me to believe that black men help each other. How naive of me to believe that black men help each other. Now, on a spectrum scale, yes, we help each other. Yes, we do things for each other. And yes, am I my brother's keeper? Yes. That's on the spectrum scale. But from what I see, from what I see, from where I'm standing, no, they don't. And here's what I mean. Black men don't help each other for a myriad of reasons. The number one reason is because if you reach out to try to help somebody, you're setting yourself up to be taken advantage of. And unfortunately, we've been done such a way where we have to look like we trying to get some help from somebody. We got to trap people. We got to set a trap and we got to act like, oh, I'm hurting and help me out. And then when you take time to help somebody, you straight up putting yourself in position to be taken advantage of. So, no, that's one reason black men don't help each other. Another reason black men don't help each other is because we don't have no resources to help nobody. I'm trying to help myself. For, most of my life, I thought it was one thing. And then when I got to a certain age, whatever age that is, I realized and still realizing